Have you ever imagined what it feels like to be betrayed in the midst of a lavish celebration? Under the dazzling glow of crystal chandeliers in the Four Seasons Seattle ballroom, Evelyn Harper stood silently beside the ornate dining table. Her gaze was as sharp as a blade, sweeping across the lively conversations around her. The pearl silk gown that gently hugged her silhouette concealed the raging fire she had nurtured for 4 long months. Opposite her, Sophia Bennett smiled with confident ease. She marveled at the glittering Swarovski centerpiece, unaware that in just 42 minutes, her husband Daniel would step through those doors, bearing a bouquet of white roses meant for Evelyn, poised to tear apart every flawless illusion. Have you ever woken to a single sunbeam slicing through glass curtains, stirring every mote of dust dancing in the air? Evelyn Harper did. She lay still for a moment, inhaling deeply to feel her heart beat in peaceful rhythm. Then, through the wide window of her Medina villa, she watched the early sun ignite the emerald surface of Lake Washington, transforming it into a glittering mirror that reflected Seattle's pulsing skyline. Yachts drifted lazily across the water. Tiny waves caressed the rocky shore. Above, the sky stretched like a gossamer veil. Stepping barefoot onto the warm oak floor, Evelyn sensed the solid certainty beneath her feet. In that instant, her mind played back last night's grand dinner party, crystal lights twinkling overhead, whispers of influential guests, ruby wine swirling in fine glasses, laughter mingling with toasts of praise. The Medina Villa, with its soaring ceilings, minimalist yet opulent decor, and priceless artworks adorning every wall, seemed to tell the Harper family's story of triumph and prosperity. At her vanity, the mirror returned the image of her sculpted features and deep, contemplative eyes. She brushed a chestnut lock behind her ear, feeling each silky strand slide through her fingers. A fleeting smile touched her lips, but in her gaze lingered a flicker of uncertainty, an unspoken question that reached beyond accolades and ambition. Beyond the ocean of data she navigated daily lay a world of glittering possibility where soulless numbers spoke, acted, and wielded power. Evelyn took pride in her role at Apex Dynamics. She was the beating heart of the fraud detection team, capable of unmasking the most intricate deceptions buried in endless data sets. Footsteps sounded softly from the study below. Nathan Harper, her husband of 12 years, a gifted architect, emerged in a flawlessly tailored gray suit, his tall frame exuding quiet confidence. He had just finalized the design for the Puget Sound Convention Center, its soaring dome arching like wings toward the sky. To Nathan, that grand structure embodied humanity's limitless aspirations. They met in the glow of morning light. Rays filtering through the window sketched harmonious contours across their faces. Evelyn felt Nathan's warmth radiate toward her, a warmth born of steadfast love, yet tinged with hidden depths. Years of shared dreams had bound them tightly, but each harbored private longings beneath the surface. She offered a gentle smile, as if to welcome the promise of another beautiful day. From the outside, their life resembled a flawless oil painting, the limousine waiting at the gate, attentive staff always on hand, lavish trips to Paris for Evelyn's tech conferences, Portland charity galas where gowns swirled like silk, weekends in Santa Fe hunting for artwork, each canvas, each brushstroke, telling a story of raw human emotion. But amid this perfection, a soft echo stirred within Evelyn, a gentle yet resolute reminder that life is more than fame and achievement. She wondered if she truly knew herself, or if she had become lost among numbers and blueprints, forgetting that the heart, too, craves its own resonance. The question bore through her silently, compelling her to rise from the bed and face the new day. Sunlight from the west filtered through the cherry blossom trees on the terrace, brushing the fine lines at the corner of Evelyn's eyes like a whisper. She furrowed her brow, not in worry but in anticipation of exploring a new realm, one shaped by genuine emotion, where every moment gleams with possibility. A life that seemed perfect, she realized, gains its authentic charm from the tiniest fractures. With deliberate grace, Evelyn stepped onto the balcony, drew in a slow, deep breath, and let her heart chart the course for the day ahead. Smash that like button and subscribe if you're vibing with this drama. Then drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is in your corner of the world. It always blows my mind to see who's tuning in. 6 months passed like the steady ticking of a clock. Yet in Evelyn's heart, each day felt laden with a heavy, unspoken mystery. It all began with tiny, almost imperceptible details. Nathan suddenly asked her not to call him at night, claiming he needed absolute focus for work. His phone was always set to silent mode, only showing message notifications without a single vibration. Evelyn remembered the night she tried calling him through a torrential downpour, hearing only the roar of rain against the phone's speaker, with no answer. The emptiness crept over her like a cold wind sweeping in off Lake Washington, dissolving every warm familiarity in the vast Medina villa. From late-night meetings at the architecture firm to short business trips to Denver and then Boise, Nathan always had a compelling explanation. A top-secret project with an international client, an urgent site inspection, or the sudden appearance of a European investment partner. But the papers in his wallet, credit card receipts emblazoned with the names of upscale restaurants and five-star hotels, didn't align with his stories. Once, Evelyn chanced upon a dinner receipt from an Italian restaurant, accompanied by a brief text. "Meet me at midnight?" The swell of confusion and suspicion within her made her heartbeat pause, then ring out like an alarm. One late afternoon weekend, as golden rays of fading sunlight filtered through the cherry blossom canopy on the balcony, Evelyn resolved to pack Nathan's suitcase for his fictional trip. Her hand trembled slightly as she leafed through each receipt, until she stopped at a folded, creased voucher. Salish Lodge and Spa, dated the previous weekend, for a sizable sum, alongside a handwritten note. "Nathan, I can't forget last night. When will we finally be free? Sophia." In the stillness of the room, broken only by the clock's relentless tick, Evelyn's heart pounded so fiercely she could feel each pulse in her chest. That folded note was an invisible dagger, hollowing out the trust she had placed in her husband for years. The warm oak scent of her vanity table and the subtle lavender aroma from her diffuser suddenly felt searing, like pouring salt into a fresh wound. She did not scream. She did not weep. Instead, Evelyn stood motionless, eyes vacant as she stared at the note in her hand, her mind spinning with unanswerable questions. Who was Sophia? How many secret nights had been woven into their lives? And Nathan, the man she thought she knew in every hidden corner of his soul, was leading a double life. Every sweet memory was refracted through the lens of doubt. Each smile, each word of encouragement, now echoed with betrayal. In the days that followed, Evelyn waded through a maelstrom of emotions. At times, a crashing wave threatening to sweep everything away. At others, a silent gust that left her shivering in solitude. She monitored his texts, call logs, scrolled through his social media photos, searching for traces of Sophia in every scene. Yet the pain made it impossible to confront the truth head-on. Whenever she faced Nathan, she masked her suspicion with a gentle smile, patiently listening to his tales of secret projects, meetings in Denver and Boise, relentless work pressures. Nathan remained as warm and attentive as ever, yet in his eyes, Evelyn began to perceive an invisible chasm, one she was forbidden to cross. The Medina villa, once the sanctuary of a happy marriage, had become a labyrinth of suspicion. The oak-paneled walls, gleaming tiled floors, the thick Persian rug in the living room, all evoked memories of a haven that once seemed unshakable. But when Evelyn's hands clasped the note from Sophia behind her back, She felt those tiny cracks widen until they threatened to swallow everything. The crystal chandelier in the dining room, where they once sipped red wine and exchanged affectionate glances, now cast fractured shadows on the walls. Every family dinner turned into a covert interrogation. Each question about his schedule, each inquiry about work, became a probing tactic. Evelyn felt her spirit wane, yet she could not let go. She knew only the truth could free her from this nightmare that had masqueraded as perfection. Night fell, and in the luxurious bedroom overlooking Lake Washington, Evelyn quietly opened her laptop and logged into Nathan's email. The words, "secret project," gave way to a flood of attachments, blueprints, contracts, letters from unnamed clients. She exhaled softly. Among the hundreds of pages, not a single hint of Denver or Boise. Yet there, a small, unopened folder named Salish glowed in the sidebar. Evelyn hesitated, her finger hovering above the mouse, her heart pounding. The screen lit up, revealing photos of Salish Lodge's hidden retreat. A small table laden with fresh flowers, candles flickering in the dim light. 2 chairs positioned toward a roaring waterfall. The cozy suite, draped in soft silk curtains, looked out over a nightscape bathed in gentle amber hues. In one image, Nathan's face tilted downward, his lips brushing the neck of an unnamed woman. Evelyn studied the photograph, her heart shattering as she recognized the soft, cascading hair of Sophia, a woman she had never met, yet who had claimed her husband's heart. In that moment, Evelyn understood that every excuse, every alibi, had been nothing more than a temporary veil. Her love and her marriage had been tested, torn between reality and deception. Yet Evelyn did not collapse. In the silent night, with the waterfall's image echoing on her screen, she vowed to herself, face him or walk away. And as the candlelight on her desk flickered, she knew her journey to reclaim the truth had only just begun. Evelyn sat before her desk in the living room, the pale glow of the desk lamp reflecting off the screen of her brand new laptop. She exhaled deeply, her hand poised over the keyboard like a warrior ready for battle. This was more than a confrontation. This was the investigation of a top-tier data analyst, and Evelyn understood fully the enormous responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. Night deepened, and the steady ticking of the clock urged her onward, brooking no hesitation. First, she had paid cash for an untraceable laptop, utterly unrelated to her day-to-day work. The old dormitory library at the University of Washington became her discreet meeting point, a clever step to ensure no one could follow her trail. Next, she created a brand new email account, set up a private, fully encrypted cloud. Digital signatures and complex passwords formed the security mosaic Evelyn needed to store her evidence safely, leaving no trace that could lead back to her. On that laptop, every analytical tool was installed. Data extraction software, file recovery programs, GPS monitoring utilities. Evelyn reminded herself this was not merely an inquiry. It was a quest for the truth. She began with Sophia, the woman whose icy handwritten note had shattered her world. Scouring social media, Evelyn uncovered Sophia Bennett, a poised, polished urban planner collaborating with Nathan's architectural firm. Event photographs revealed Sophia standing close to Nathan at project unveilings, their smiles intimate, their gazes briefly and tenderly locked. Evelyn opened the joint bank statements of the Harpers, scrutinizing every transaction. Amid the endless rows of numbers, she found payments to Salish Lodge's account, dates that did not match any of Nathan's claimed business trips. The screen lit up with line after line of paid stamped in pale green. Her heart sank. On the other side, Nathan maintained confidently that each trip was work-related. Sophia, meanwhile, had posted vintage-style snapshots of the lodge's suite on her personal feed. The timing was far too coincidental. But Evelyn did not stop there. She extracted GPS data from the vehicle tracking app, a service contract for car management that Nathan never suspected she could access. There it was, late-night journeys away from home, heading to Salish Lodge twice a month. The digital map unfurled like a treasure map, pinpointing secret destinations. Through her expert lens, she measured distances, calculated travel times. Every figure became a clue, striking her eyes like an ominous drumbeat. In the hush of midnight, Evelyn launched the message recovery software for the encrypted app Nathan used. The hidden process ran for hours, the laptop's cooling fans sighing under exertion. At last, ghostly lines of text emerged. "Meet me tonight at the cabana. Don't bring your phone." Evelyn's chest constricted. She read the words over and over, each character a knife slicing through the sweet trust she once knew. Her face flared with determination, even as her heart flickered with unbearable pain. Step by step, Evelyn constructed a relationship map between Nathan and Sophia, a web of hidden emails, fabricated business schedules, invisible financial transactions, all revealing the shadow side of her husband's life. She read the data like an unstable diary. Lonely nights when Nathan sought solace in Sophia's companionship that his wife could neither give nor, perhaps, he had refused to share. Images of Nathan entwined with Sophia in his architectural studio, set against the velvet embrace of night, played in Evelyn's mind like a slow-motion film. Outside, the Medina villa stood silent, bathed in pale moonlight filtering through glass panes. Inside, the laptop glimmered a cold blue light. Evelyn's eyes were riveted to the screen as she quietly chronicled each clandestine journey, each discrepancy in the statements. She even discovered drip-fed transfers to an anonymous account, a clear indicator of an asset transfer scheme. Fury swelled within her chest. She suppressed it, maintaining razor-sharp clarity. Throughout it all, Evelyn did not sleep. The cup of strong black coffee by her side had long since grown cold, leaving a dark ring on the wooden desk. Her eyes were rimmed with shadows, yet in them blazed an unquenchable fire. She gathered every piece of evidence, screenshots of messages, GPS logs, bank statements, relationship diagrams, each file and folder meticulously named, then encrypted and stored in multiple locations. Each document was a brick in the fortress of truth she was building. Finally, once she had assembled all the proof, Evelyn surveyed the numbers on her screen. Over 100 irregular transactions, hundreds of irrevocable messages, countless digital footprints tracing an illicit romance. She wondered whether Nathan ever regretted his actions, or if he viewed it all as a calculated play to prepare for the future. All those documents would speak the final verdict. Outside, the night breeze stirred the heavy drapes. Evelyn felt its whisper across her heart, still racing, but now directed toward a clear aim, confronting Nathan, forcing him to face reality. She was no longer the gentle, long-suffering wife. She had transformed into an unyielding analytics expert, armed with numbers, images, and messages. Her steps would be resolute, her gaze formidable, for beyond the command, secret investigation, lay a war to reclaim her own heart. When dawn's first light burst into the room, Evelyn shut down the laptop. She stood, straightened her jacket, and gazed at the serene surface of Lake Washington. The mirror-like water reflected the clear blue sky, an unspoken vow that the new day would not be shrouded in darkness. The evidence was ready. The truth awaited revelation, and it would be her tempestuous heart that served as the sail, carrying Evelyn through the storm of emotions until every secret lay bare. Evelyn sat motionless before the floor-to-ceiling window of the Medina villa, watching the hurried crowds below as if they were blurred puzzle pieces. In her heart, there was no room left for weakness. The traces of betrayal had been laid bare, and her pain had ignited into an uncontrollable rage. This was not the moment for tears. Evelyn needed a flawless plan, to let Nathan and Sophia know she would never tolerate betrayal in silence. The idea struck her as she reviewed the files of images Detective Mia Torres had sent. Intimate snapshots of Nathan and Sophia at Salish Lodge, candlelit rendezvous that glowed like secret embers. Evelyn studied each photograph, her gaze cold as steel. She whispered to herself. If the truth is to be revealed, then the whole city must witness it. The gala dinner of Apex Dynamics' annual tech conference would be held at Seattle's most luxurious venue, the Four Seasons. Its ceilings gilded, chandeliers dazzling, marble walls reflecting a warm glow. Evelyn decided this would be the perfect stage. She contacted the event team, insisting on booking the grand ballroom. She arranged for precise audio and lighting, permitting no margin for error. Every chair, every ivory gray tablecloth, every hue of decoration was selected to convey elegance, yet subtle enough for her dramatic unveiling. Evelyn personally refined the guest list, ensuring the three principals would all be present. Nathan Harper, the celebrated architect, Sophia Bennett, the urban planner, and Sophia's husband, Daniel Bennett, a respected environmental lawyer. Daniel would be stunned to learn that his wife had not only betrayed him, but had done so openly beside another man in public. This revelation would shock the audience. It would ensure the scandal could never fade into oblivion. On the night of the conference, Four Seasons gleamed under mellow gold lighting. The red-carpeted corridor leading to the ballroom was adorned with white flowers and silver foliage, symbols of purity tainted. Evelyn entered in a sleek black sheath dress, simple yet icy. Her hair was swept up, revealing the graceful curve of her neck, and her gaze was unwavering. A discreet buzz from her earpiece alerted her to Mia's message. They're here. Nathan and Sophia are at the bar. Daniel just arrived through the service entrance. Evelyn allowed herself a small, confident smile. Now the script would unfold flawlessly. Inside the glittering ballroom, guests murmured congratulations as the MC introduced Apex Dynamics achievements, inviting everyone to enjoy tea and hors d'oeuvres. Evelyn moved through the crowd like a shadow, her smile a carefully crafted mask. She paused beside Dr. Lee, a trusted colleague chosen to present a special honorary gift, without him suspecting that the gift would be the undeniable proof of an illicit affair. The large LED screen flickered, displaying the secret project Nathan had always mentioned. Dr. Lee pressed the button, and the soft gold lighting shifted to a vivid red. Under that light, Mia's photographs filled the screen. Nathan leaning intimately towards Sophia, his arm wrapped around her waist, their ardent smiles glowing beneath candlelight. The Salish Lodge suite appeared alive. The cozy room, the silk curtains billowing, the table set with fresh flowers and flickering candles. The guests fell silent, stunned. The air felt frozen. Next, the guests watched transaction records scroll across the screen. Payments made at Four Seasons, not for tonight's event, but for private rendezvous. Wire transfers to shell accounts, and encrypted messages from Nathan to Sophia. Tonight, I will leave this marriage. Each line, each figure, was a knife carving into their dignity. No one could look away. Sophia's face turned ashen. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Nathan fumbled, hands trembling. Daniel's eyes widened. His face went pale. Evelyn stood at the back of the ballroom, the spotlight painting her features, solemn and resolute. She did not smile. She did not gloat. She simply acknowledged. The truth is undeniable. Silence reigned, broken only by stunned whispers that swelled into a crescendo. Some guests gasped. Others stared at the protagonists as if they were walking through a storm. The MC hastily called the event to a close, but no one cared for wine or canapé any longer. Finally, when half the attendees had departed, Evelyn strode through the thinning crowd toward Sophia and Daniel. She handed Daniel a printed dossier containing the full evidence, and quietly said, "This is the truth. I hope you make the right choice." Then she turned and walked away, leaving behind two families shattered, bewildered. Outside the hotel doors, the Seattle night was eerily still. A cold wind off Puget Sound rustled Evelyn's light coat, but she did not shiver. Her heart was freed from the burden of doubt and pain. She had sown the fragments of deception to reap the harvest of truth. Now, Evelyn stepped into her future with confidence, into a world where darkness held no secrets, and where she alone would write the next chapter of her life. The Apex Dynamics Gala reached its climax as the limousine glided slowly to a stop before the grand entrance of the Four Seasons. Guests stepped onto the crimson carpet, and crystal lights from the ceiling cascaded down like countless multicolored prisms. Each footfall echoed on the marble floor, mingling with the soft strains of live jazz, crafting an atmosphere both majestic and intoxicating. Evelyn Harper arrived first in the ballroom. She wore a form-fitting pearl silk gown, the bodice glinting with delicate hand-sewn sequins. Her hair was swept into a low chignon, a few soft tendrils framing her graceful neck. Her eyes were cool and proud, like diamonds shining under the warm lights. Her lips curved into a single, frosty smile, the smile of someone who held every card. She raised a glass of champagne, inhaled its tart grape bouquet and effervescent sparkle. It was time to deliver the perfect strike of vengeance. Next came Daniel Bennett, his face bright with anticipation as he drank in the opulence. His tailored gray suit accentuated a tall, athletic build. He chatted amiably with colleagues, his warm voice and sparkling eyes betraying his eagerness. Daniel had arrived early to welcome his wife, Sophia, to what he believed would be a memorable evening they'd share together. Little did he know the shock that awaited him. Nathan Harper entered just after, the lights shifting gently in hue to echo the saxophone's melody. He was later than expected, his dark suit lending him a more severe bearing. Nathan's gaze swept the room, pausing momentarily when he spotted Daniel. Anxiety flickered in his eyes. His hand trembled as he lifted a glass of red wine, his greeting noticeably strained. From across the room, Evelyn watched him, her smile unchanging, but her eyes glinting with strategy. At last, Sophia Bennett made her entrance. Her fiery red gown flamed with confidence, radiating the charm of a powerful woman. Her hair streamed like liquid silk under the lights as she moved through the crowd, her brilliant smile and wave of the hand betraying no hint of the trap she was walking into. Her gaze alighted on Daniel. Surprise flickered, then smoothed into a radiant beam. Sophia believed this was merely their annual soiree, nothing more. Evelyn drifted forward like a queen in her court, guiding all four to table 7, directly facing the central stage. The ivory tablecloth gleamed beneath tall candles' golden glow. Artful arrangements of lilies and dark crimson roses exuded a refined fragrance. Crystal glassware sparkled beside polished silver cutlery and white porcelain edged in gold. Every element came together like the set of a dramatic play. With a graceful nod, Evelyn invited her guests to sit, her eyes sweeping the table until they rested on the small projector. She gave a slight signal to the technician and turned to begin the conversation. Her voice was gentle yet razor-sharp. Tonight, let us discuss trust in our partnerships. Trust is the foundation of every success. Isn't that right, Daniel? Daniel beamed, voice warm with agreement. Exactly, Evelyn. Trust is the connecting bond. Nathan nodded, though his response was softer than one might expect. Yes, trust is our most precious asset. Sophia applauded lightly, her face alight. I couldn't agree more. But it was merely the opening act. Suddenly, the stage lights flickered out, and the main screen faded to black before white letters appeared. A study in truthfulness. All eyes turned to the screen. The music fell silent, leaving only a collective stunned gasp from the four principal players. Evelyn inhaled deeply, rose from her seat, and walked deliberately to the microphone. Her footsteps rang out in the hush. Her expression was solemn, her gaze fixed unwaveringly on Nathan and Sophia. She spoke softly, but clearly enough for all to hear. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'd like to share a very special study, one on honesty, or more precisely, on betrayal. The room seemed to contract. The clinking of glasses ceased. Evelyn pivoted from the audience to trigger the slideshow. A sequence of photographs from Salish Lodge, flickering candles, silk curtains drifting, a table set with fresh flowers and luminous votives, and two figures so intimate that any heart would falter. In each frame, Nathan and Sophia clung together, breathlessly close, as though their very souls were entwined. Daniel's eyes widened, his mouth fell open, hands trembling as he recognized his wife's face. Next, the screen displayed line after line of bank statements. Charges at Four Seasons, not for tonight's event, but for their private rendezvous. Wire transfers to an unknown account, and encrypted messages Nathan had sent Sophia. Meet me at midnight. Don't bring your phone. Each word cut through Nathan's composure like a surgeon's scalpel. Guests whispered in shock, some turning away, voices trembling. Sophia pressed her hands to her face, tears glistening in the candlelight. Nathan staggered back 2 paces, his color draining. Daniel rushed to his wife, voice cracking. Sophia, please explain. But she remained silent, clutching Daniel and weeping. Evelyn stood still, expression unwavering. She waited until every murmur subsided, then returned to the microphone. Truth always finds a way to surface. Thank you all for listening. Her words drew the curtain on the fateful evening. Empty chairs lingered. Petals of white lilies trembled on the table, as though mourning the shattered trust. As the lights dimmed to the soft glow of lanterns and candles, Evelyn walked out of the grand hall. Seattle's night wrapped around her. A chill breeze from Puget Sound ruffled her coat, yet she did not shiver. That night, her life, and the lives of the traders, turned onto a new path, one from which there would be no return. In the suffocating silence of the Four Seasons Grand Ballroom, every gaze fixed on Table 7, where Evelyn Harper stood tall, her eyes as sharp as a razor blade. She gently placed the first photograph on the tabletop, its edge slightly bent from her tight grip. A shot of Nathan and Sophia embracing in the dimly lit parking lot of Salish Lodge. The car headlights' beams reflected off rain-kissed windows, making their eyes glisten with a furtive glow. An intimate tableau cruelly at odds with the perfect marriage everyone believed in. Beside her, Daniel Bennett stood ashen-faced, his hand trembling around the stem of his wineglass, as though trying desperately to clutch the final fragments of his shattered trust. Without a word, Evelyn lifted the projector remote. The large screen snapped to life, revealing frames from a clandestine video shot at an upscale Bellevue restaurant. Sophia's lips whispering against Nathan's ear, the candlelight dancing in their wineglasses as their silhouettes drew close. The soft jazz soundtrack cut abruptly, leaving only the hushed hum of crickets from the footage, creating a chilling, cinematic tension that left every guest breathless. Evelyn then brandished a stack of thick bank statements and hotel invoices under the bright lights. Charges for Salish Lodge stays, late-night dinners in Bellevue, each paid stamp a vivid testament to Nathan's fabricated business trips. The pale green paid imprint dug into her palm as she squeezed the papers, as if she could physically tear apart every lie. The room fell into a stunned hush, the weight of revelation pressing down on every heartbeat. Next came the series of messages Sophia had sent Nathan, displayed in stark black text on a white background. I want us to start over where no one knows you're married. Each word cut like a blade into the spectators' hearts. Daniel's barely audible sigh and the single tear sliding down his cheek sounded like the day's first dewdrop. The air grew heavier still. Sophia's face drained of color, her eyes wide and pleading, her lips paling to an ashen hue. She tried to stammer an explanation, but her voice trembled and dissolved in the crowd's collective scorn. She searched their faces for pity, but found only cold walls of outrage and disappointment. From the CTO to the investors, She opened her mouth again, but only a hoarse whisper escaped, as if even she could not fathom how she had exchanged her honor and her vows for secret trysts. Nathan's complexion turned deathly pale, sweat beading on his brow as his hands clenched and unclenched, itching to reach Evelyn and demand a private word. His nostrils flared with the heat of desperation as he groped for words of defense, but Evelyn's gaze froze him in place, icy and unwavering. She shook her head, her voice calm but cutting. "You cannot hide any longer, Nathan. Now you must face everyone here." Her words echoed through the hall, and he staggered back, his heart constricting. No need for instructions. The guests watched, riveted. Many stood motionless, their hands trembling as they whispered to one another, while others rose and backed away, unwilling to remain near the central drama. The vibrant clink of glasses and banter that had filled the room moments before vanished entirely, replaced by the heavy sound of collective gasps, each one weighed down by the ruthless truth laid bare. Evelyn methodically gathered the evidence, her eyes scanning every reaction with neither glee nor triumph, but with a sense of liberation mixed with sorrow for the man who had once been her husband, and a poignant grief for love betrayed. She glanced at Sophia, cowering in her chair, tears blurring her vision. Then at Nathan, the man to whom she had entrusted everything, his head bowed, his expression vacant, as if his soul had been uprooted. Evelyn exhaled softly, releasing 3 final words. "It's all clear now." In that somber moment, the fateful banquet came crashing to an end. The chandeliers no longer shone. They seemed to sag under the weight of the evening's revelations. The jazz band had not struck another note, leaving a silence that stretched like a chasm. A few remaining guests rose and slipped away quietly, skirting past the 2 central figures without daring to meet their eyes. White lily petals lay scattered on the table, testament to beauty extinguished amid the storm of raw emotion. Finally, as the grand hall emptied, Evelyn strode away from the banquet table, her skirts whispering against the marble floor with determined steps. She glanced back one last time to see Daniel holding Sophia close, both trembling in each other's arms like condemned souls. The emptiness echoed around her. Only the sound of her footsteps resounded in the cavernous space. Evelyn allowed herself a bittersweet smile. She was the torchbearer of truth in that darkness. And as the opulent doors closed behind her, she knew this seismic unmasking would reverberate forever, carving a scar into the memory of every witness. The fallout from that earth-shattering revelation spread like a whirlwind, sweeping away every vestige of former loyalties. Within hours, the name Nathan Harper dominated every professional forum and social media feed in Seattle. The photographs of his embrace with Sophia in Salish Lodge's parking lot, the whispered video from the Bellevue restaurant, and the chilling text, "Let's start over where no one knows you're married," went viral, leaving the public reeling. The serene hush that once enveloped the Medina villa vanished, replaced by incessant phone rings and overflowing inboxes, like a raging blaze no one could quell. Before long, Apex Dynamics leadership launched an internal investigation. Financial reports swiftly revealed suspicious expenditures, unaccounted funds funneled into Salish Lodge invoices, lavish dinners in Bellevue, and substantial transfers into an anonymous account, apparently financing the clandestine affair. The company could no longer delay action when they discovered that project funds, earmarked for anti-fraud technology research, had been borrowed to fund these secret trysts. Nathan was suspended, then officially terminated just days after the scandal broke. Washington's architectural community reacted with equal severity. The Washington Architectural Association, once proud to bestow upon Nathan the Emerging Architect of the Year award, rescinded his title in a brief but stern statement. "We cannot condone any misconduct that tarnishes professional integrity." Overnight, the illustrious career Nathan had painstakingly built, shining as brightly as the Puget Sound Convention Center he designed, came crashing down, leaving only a somber hush behind glass walls. Sophia Bennett, no less complicit, found herself in an even more desperate plight. Authorities quickly gathered evidence that she had manipulated urban planning contracts to funnel money into her private accounts. Charged with financial fraud and contract tampering throughout her collaboration with Nathan's firm, Sophia faced harsh penalties. The King County Court sentenced her to 24 months in prison, plus restitution for the misappropriated funds. Once a confident, powerful woman, Sophia became a blurred figure behind iron bars, her eyes half closed, lips pressed into a firm line in her bright orange inmate uniform. Daniel Bennett, once a devoted husband who had placed unwavering trust in his wife, crumpled under the weight of betrayal. He could never have imagined the woman he trusted completely would so brazenly shatter their marriage. After reviewing the dossier Evelyn provided, Daniel filed for divorce and cut all ties with Sophia. Nearly a decade of union dissolved in an instant as he withdrew into a small riverside home, seeking new peace while closing the painful chapter of his life. Amid the chaos enveloping everyone else, Evelyn Harper, the epicenter of this seismic event, underwent her own profound transformation. The Medina Villa, once a symbol of upscale bliss, stood as a testament to deception. She resolved to sell it immediately, accepting a below-market price to liberate herself from its cold oak walls and haunting memories. The proceeds were enough to purchase a penthouse in downtown Seattle, overlooking the placid waters of Lake Union. Though smaller, the new home offered freedom, a place for sunlit breakfasts, open spaces, and panoramic city views that signaled the start of a fresh journey. Meanwhile, Apex Dynamics executives recognized that Evelyn's value extended far beyond her technical prowess. Her resilience and determination to rise after devastation set her apart. They promoted her to lead their newly formed anti-fraud technology unit, the very field she had wielded as her weapon to expose the truth. Standing before her new workstation, screens aglow with project charts, data streams, and overflowing inboxes, Evelyn embraced the urgency and pressure with eyes alight with hope. At her first meeting with the specialist team, Evelyn surveyed the talented faces around her, experts united by a shared mission to root out misconduct and injustice. She imparted her insights, outlining data approaches, surveillance tools, and ethical collaboration methods. Her voice blended warmth with authority, inspiring unwavering confidence. They were not merely working for Apex Dynamics. They were championing transparency and fairness in the technology realm. This swift ascent granted Evelyn more than a new title. It provided vindication for the wounds paid in sweat and tears. Her cozy penthouse ceased to be a refuge from the past, and instead became a monument to her steadfast rebirth. Every week she met with close friends to share her renewed joy, confidently declaring, "I've found my heart again." Those words resonated as a message to herself and to the world. No matter how fierce life storms, truth and justice will ultimately prevail. As Seattle's collective outrage toward Nathan Harper and Sophia Bennett cooled, Evelyn's faith in her work and in herself only grew stronger. News cycles moved on, yet her story, of a woman daring to use data as her sword to defend truth, echoed as inspiration for all who stand up against deceit and wrongdoing. In the wake of those tumultuous events, Evelyn didn't just write a new chapter in her own life. She etched her name into the hearts of those who believe in the power of righteous conviction. 6 months have passed since that earth-shattering night at the Four Seasons, and now Evelyn Harper sits at ease on the expansive balcony of her downtown Seattle penthouse. Before her lies a sunset painted in rosy hues over Elliott Bay. The day's last light dances on the water like 1,000 scattered gems, while gentle waves lap the seawall in a soothing cadence. She inhales deeply, savoring the cool breeze as it teases her loose hair, carrying with it the salty scent of the sea. Her heart is more at peace now than it ever was during her 12-year marriage, an almost overwhelming serenity. Evelyn's penthouse is not ostentatious, yet it feels warm and inviting, with its dark wood floors, minimalist furnishings, and clusters of small green plants thoughtfully placed throughout. Here, she has found the space to heal and to be reborn. Each morning, soft sunlight filters through the curtains, awakening her with the city's natural soundtrack. Distant traffic hum, braying ferry horns across Elliott Bay, and the occasional sparrow's trill in the balcony planters. The lavish parties and lengthy business trips of her past have faded into memory, replaced by quiet meditation sessions and leisurely strolls along the lakeshore. Amid this rebirth, Evelyn discovered a precious friendship with Daniel Bennett, her fellow survivor, also deeply wounded by Sophia's betrayal. At first, they met simply to commiserate, gathering each weekend at a quaint cafe by Lake Union. The rattle of bicycle bells, the aroma of freshly roasted coffee, and the scent of buttered toast became the backdrop for their candid conversations. Daniel spoke of his journey to mend his heart, of the emptiness in a house that once sheltered him, now reduced to hollow walls. Evelyn shared how inner strength had awakened within her, her resolve to transform pain into purpose. Together they smiled, grateful to have finally found the companionship they had both yearned for through so many lonely nights. That friendship deepened over simple dinners they prepared themselves in Evelyn's kitchen. Daniel took charge of the spaghetti bolognese, while Evelyn artfully tossed a goat cheese salad drizzled with fresh basil vinaigrette. The cozy kitchen filled with laughter, soft murmurs, and the mouth-watering aromas of garlic, basil, and melting cheese. They seated themselves opposite each other, candlelight reflecting in their clear eyes as they shared their most honest stories. No deceit, no glossy facades. Those unpretentious meals became spiritual anchors, teaching them that after life's fiercest storms, companionship can open the heart anew. Alongside her emotional recovery, Evelyn's career soared to new heights. Armed with the data analysis expertise that once saved Apex Dynamics millions, she launched a consultancy dedicated to helping women uncover financial fraud in their marriages. Her modest office occupies the second floor of a historic university district building. Its decor is spare yet functional, lined with data analysis workstations, a whiteboard charting transaction indicators, and shelves stocked with books on marital law, personal finance, and interpersonal communication. Evelyn assembled a cross-disciplinary team of forensic accountants, family lawyers, and psychologists, professionals ready to guide clients through the labyrinth of suspicion and deceit. The firm's first client was a young woman named Anna, who suspected her husband of covertly securing a massive bank loan in preparation for divorce. Evelyn coached Anna on retrieving bank statements, dissecting credit card transactions, and employing GPS tracking tools to verify travel claims. In their final session, when Anna confronted the evidence and collapsed into tears of betrayed trust, Evelyn took her hand, her gaze brimming with empathy. "We will restore your rights and your dignity." That moment cemented Anna's faith in Evelyn's skill and compassion, and underlined the noble mission that propelled Evelyn each day. Evelyn's story did not end with her own past wounds. It propelled her into a new chapter of bold aspiration. On a crisp, late October afternoon, as scarlet maple leaves drifted outside her office window, Evelyn received an email from her legal liaison in Portland. It concerned a tech industry CEO rumored to be secretly transferring assets offshore to abandon his wife and evade debt obligations. Attached were scans of unusually large transactions and shadowy photographs of him meeting a foreign attorney at the airport. Evelyn clicked open the email, her eyes alight with the fierce excitement of a warrior poised for her next battle. She exhaled, her heart calm yet brimming with resolve. Evelyn's penthouse suddenly felt more alive than ever. On her desk, beside a steaming cup of strong coffee, lay her psychological map, a network chart of key relationships, and a flowchart of money movements. She mentally ran through each figure, fine-tuned the anomaly detection algorithms, and sketched out her plan for a fact-finding trip to Portland. This sensation was unlike any she had known. It was no longer the sting of betrayal, but the enduring strength forged from experience and empathy. Evelyn smiled. This was merely the opening act in her quest to bring justice to those who dared to deceive. Thus, the great rebirth draws to a close, but not with a definitive period. Its final note is a reminder. Though life may reveal our deepest wounds, faith in truth and justice will always sprout anew, more resilient than before. Evelyn has proven that suffering can be transmuted into strength, and that each of us holds the power to rise and reclaim our own narrative. If you have been captivated by Evelyn's journey, please leave us a comment to share how her story has inspired you. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss our next tale, where justice will once again be revealed in ways you could never imagine. And if you love this story, share it with friends and family across the United States. We'd love to know where and when you're watching. Every piece of feedback energizes us to keep telling true, profound, and uplifting stories.